The atmosphere at BTS's Baltimore concert became especially memorable when Jimin appeared to share a heartwarming moment with one incredibly lucky female fan. Amid the roaring cheers and flashing lights inside the stadium, the fan suddenly found herself much closer to her idol than she could have ever imagined. During the concert, Jimin noticed the fan among the crowd and invited her to come up onto the stage. As she made her way toward him, the excitement inside the venue seemed to reach another level, with fans around her screaming and capturing the unforgettable moment on their phones. Once she reached the stage, Jimin warmly welcomed her and appeared genuinely happy to have her there. The interaction quickly became one of the most talked about moments of the night, as the fan stood beside the BTS star with an expression filled with disbelief and emotion. Then came the moment that left the audience completely stunned. Jimin moved closer and shared a warm embrace with the fan, creating an emotional scene that immediately drew loud reactions from ARMY throughout the stadium. The moment became even more unforgettable when Jimin appeared to give the fan a kiss, leaving her visibly overwhelmed by the unexpected interaction. For someone who had arrived at the concert simply hoping to see BTS perform, the experience suddenly turned into a once-in-a-lifetime memory. Fans watching from the audience reacted with a mixture of excitement, surprise, and envy as the special interaction unfolded. Many could hardly believe that one fan had been chosen to experience such a personal moment with Jimin in front of thousands of people. By the end of the moment, the lucky fan had experienced something that many ARMY can only dream about: a chance to stand beside Jimin on stage, receive a heartfelt hug, and share an unforgettable kiss. The Baltimore concert may have ended, but this extraordinary fan moment is sure to remain, one of the memories she will treasure forever. For a few seconds, the atmosphere inside the Baltimore stadium seemed to change. Jimin looked out across the sea of ARMY, slowly scanning the crowd as thousands of fans screamed his name. Then unexpectedly he paused. His eyes appeared to focus on one particular area, leaving everyone wondering what had caught his attention. Who was Jimin looking at? Jimin continued looking toward the audience before subtly raising his hand. The moment he pointed in one direction, the crowd erupted even louder. Fans around that area began looking at one another, trying to figure out who had caught Jimin's attention. For those few seconds, the anticipation became almost unbearable. Then the realization appeared to hit one female fan standing among the crowd. She seemed frozen in disbelief, as though she could not believe Jimin was actually pointing toward her. She covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes widening as the people around her reacted with excitement. As Jimin appeared to signal for her to come forward, the fan's emotions became impossible to hide. She looked overwhelmed, visibly nervous, and appeared to struggle to process what was happening. Surrounded by thousands of screaming ARMY, she slowly began making her way toward the stage, seemingly still questioning whether the moment was actually real. What had started as an ordinary moment during the concert had suddenly turned into something completely unexpected. Jimin had noticed her from the massive crowd, and within seconds, she was on her way toward the stage. The biggest question now was, what would happen when she finally stood face to face with Jimin? As the female fan began walking toward the stage, the entire stadium seemed to erupt at once. Thousands of ARMY screamed, cheered, and raised their phones to capture what was happening. The noise grew louder with every step she took, turning an already energetic concert into an unforgettable scene. Yet in the middle of all that chaos, the fan herself appeared almost speechless. She looked overwhelmed by the moment, seemingly unable to process that she was actually walking toward Jimin, while thousands of voices surrounded her. She appeared to be living inside a moment of silence, completely focused on what was happening in front of her. When she finally reached the stage, Jimin slowly moved closer. Instead of immediately embracing her, he appeared to give her a moment to take everything in. The fan looked nervous and emotional, as she stood only a short distance away from the BTS star, with the crowd continuing to roar behind her. Then Jimin gently opened his arms. For a brief second, the fan seemed to realize exactly what was about to happen. Her expression changed as she stepped closer, and the anticipation inside the stadium appeared to reach its peak. The audience erupted even louder as the distance between them disappeared. Finally, Jimin pulled her into a warm embrace. What lasted only a few moments became one of the most emotional scenes of the night, as the fan appeared, completely overwhelmed while thousands of ARMY celebrated around them. It was the kind of unexpected concert moment that can turn an ordinary night into a memory that lasts forever. At first, the interaction appeared to be a typical fan moment during a BTS concert. Jimin seemed relaxed as he welcomed the fan onto the stage, while the audience continued cheering around them. Nothing suggested that the moment would become more emotional than expected. But what happened next was something the fan, and perhaps even the audience, did not expect. As Jimin stood in front of her, his expression appeared to soften. The excitement on his face was replaced by a gentler smile as he looked toward the visibly overwhelmed fan. For a brief moment, the enormous stadium seemed to fade into the background, creating an atmosphere that felt surprisingly intimate despite thousands of people watching. The fan appeared nervous, and Jimin seemed to notice. His body language became calmer as he stayed close to her, giving her time to absorb the extraordinary situation. His gentle smile and reassuring presence appeared to help her relax, turning the interaction into something more heartfelt than a simple stage appearance. Then the energy in the stadium shifted once again. Jimin moved closer, and his expression suggested warmth and genuine affection toward the fan in that moment. The crowd immediately reacted with louder screams, realizing that the interaction was developing into something they had not anticipated when the fan first stepped onto the stage. For the lucky fan, those few seconds must have felt almost unreal. Standing face to face with Jimin while thousands of ARMY watched, she appeared overwhelmed by the attention and emotion surrounding her. Whatever had started as an unexpected invitation onto the stage had transformed into one of the most memorable and emotionally charged moments of the Baltimore concert. For a moment, it seemed as though the special interaction was finally coming to an end. Jimin and the fan remained on stage as the crowd continued cheering, while she appeared to be slowly processing everything that had already happened. After receiving such an unexpected invitation, it seemed like she had already experienced more than she could have imagined. But then, just when fans thought the interaction was coming to an end, Jimin moved closer once again. The fan appeared surprised, and the atmosphere immediately changed. The crowd seemed to sense that something else was about to happen, causing the screams around the stadium to grow even louder. Jimin leaned closer toward the fan, creating a brief moment of anticipation. For a second, neither the audience nor the fan seemed to know exactly what would happen next. Then came another affectionate gesture from Jimin that appeared to leave the fan completely stunned, turning an already emotional stage interaction into an even more unforgettable moment. Afterward, the fan appeared almost speechless. Her expression suggested that she was still trying to understand what had just happened, while the crowd continued reacting loudly around her. She seemed overwhelmed by the attention and emotion of the moment, as if everything had happened too quickly to fully process. As she stood beside Jimin, the fan appeared to smile through her overwhelming emotions. What began with a simple invitation from the crowd had transformed into an extraordinary concert memory. For her, those few seconds on the Baltimore stage were undoubtedly a moment she would remember for a very long time.